Welcome back to Becky's Garden Paradise. Thank you for joining me here today. So it's in the morning and I have quite a few things I need to do today in a few hours. So I'm going to see if I, how much I can get done and try to get done as much as possible. But some of the priorities I have is to fertilize a lot of my plants, harvest some greens. So I have a big turnip I'm going to show you that I've been calling it the lonely turnip this season because I planted a whole row but only got one. But I'm going to go ahead and pull that and cook the greens along with the turnip root in it. And I'm going to also add some kale because I have some curly kale and I have some dino kale. So I'm just going to harvest all that together, wash it up, and cook those for some cooked mixed greens. And then it's also time to start some more seeds. So it's the beginning of April, and I'm gonna go ahead and plant some purple hull peas and some okra. So follow along with me as I go through my chores today. Alright, so I'm gonna start with some of the curly kale that I have here in this tiered planter. So I'm gonna harvest the outer leaves and leave the rest to continue to grow. I'm just checking the leaves a little bit just to make sure, like, if there were any with aphids, I wouldn't want to, I would just scrap those. But this plant is really healthy. It doesn't have any bugs on it. If it has any like leaves or pollen or whatever in it, then I'll just shake it off. And I'm going to triple wash all these greens anyway. Like, this is what I'm, if it has something like that, that's like pollen or whatever that comes from the trees, I'll just shake it out. There we go. Shake, shake, shake. Get rid of that. Toss it in the, I'm not going to cook it in that pot. I'm just using that pot to harvest in. That way I can give everything a good first rinse outside, because I have frequently found spiders in the greens when I'm harvesting them. And I'm, at the point where I have them in the kitchen and they're crawling out of the sink water. So I'll give you an example. This is a kale plant on the opposite side. And you can see that it's droopy, it's not very happy, and it has all kinds of gross stuff on it, like right there, aphids, aphid action. So that one I'm just gonna pull and get rid of. I'm not gonna accidentally get any of those aphids in my food. You could power wash it, like, spray them with the hose and get all that stuff off if you were hard up, but I have other greens. Alright, here in my raised bed I have a few dino or lacinato kale plants, and so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to harvest from the outside. If the leaves are spent, like this, yellowing, I'll just put that in the compost. Yeah. So kind of pruning and harvesting at the same time. This one is the outer leaf, but it's really good. I know it's super sunny right here. Let's see. Looks like something was eating on this one. Took some bites, probably a squirrel. Some people say if it's good for the bugs, it's good for them, not me. Alright. Again, I'm leaving the outer. This is called side cropping, where you harvest the outer leaves and leave the plant to grow, which is, something you can do to continue harvesting from the same plants when you're growing them in your garden versus the farmers in the stores. They just cut the whole stalk and that's it. They get that one crop. That's, spent. And then this will also make room so I can get in here and weed a little bit easier. Yeah, that's a good one. I think I'm just going to take, see this right here? That's called leaf miners. I'm going to take that leaf off. It doesn't really hurt the plants, but it makes them look ugly. Alright, so here are the spent leaves that I picked from the outside of the dino kale. I'm going to toss it in the compost bin. Alright. Alright, so this is my turnip, my lonely turnip. And I really do like turnips, and I left it in here a little longer to let the bulb get a little bigger, but we've been getting temperatures in the 90s, so I need to go ahead and pick it before it gets woody or tough. Alright, so this is my turnip coming out. You see the roots on it, boy. Okay, that's some good roots. And I can now plant at least one more tomato in this space because the leaves were taking up so much room. So this is it. It's not huge, but it'll do. It'll be enough. I'm gonna just dice it up and cook it in with the greens. Alright guys, so pardon the wind. It is pretty windy. We're supposed to be getting a ton of rain tomorrow, so I guess the wind is blowing the storm or the weather our way. But I'm over here at my compost pile. And before I rinse everything off from my turnips, I'm just going to show you how I prepare it. Alright, so I'm just going to use my gloves, because I'm one of those people, to try to rub as much of the dirt off of the roots as I can. And those will get trimmed. I smell turnip. I think it's funny how it's shaped. Anyways, so the outer leaves that are funky, I'm going to take them off like this and put them straight in my compost. So, I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see a little bit. But it's over here right next to us. I'll try to, let me adjust you guys so you can see. There we go. Pardon the camera movement. Alright, so I'm going to put my glove back on because turnips, the leaves on these can be prickly. Alright, so again, I'm taking off the old what I call spent leaves from the outside. The undesirable leaves that I don't want to eat. Those are the outer leaves. Because those are usually the older leaves. Alright, so the older leaves, so those are like the ones that'll die or yellow first. They've been on there the longest. Look forward to this turnip. I was craving turnips a while ago, probably in the fall. And when I finally found them in a store, they were $3 a bag for 3 little turnips. And I said, screw that. I can grow my own. So even if I only got one, that's just going to make me appreciate and savor this one turnip even more. Turnips is something I remember my dad cooking for me when I was a little girl, and he used to just boil them, and then we'd eat them with like salt and pepper, maybe some butter. Ew, yuck. I'll show you guys. This is like a aphid nest on this one leaf. This is what I'm talking about. Disgusting. That's why I wear gloves. You can see that gross. Yeah, that's disgusting. I'm not even going to compost that. I'm going to put it in my yard waste to get picked up because I don't want those to continue to thrive. Ew. You guys see it? Yeah, you can see it. Gross. Now I'm just going to check out of curiosity and make sure I don't have any more like that. And I'll go through all of them. Whenever I clean greens, I always go through leaf. Sorry, you couldn't see me. Leaf by leaf. It's the way I was taught by my son's grandma. When I first moved down here, I did not know how to cook Southern style greens, and she taught me. So leaf by leaf, you look at them front and back, rinse them off front and back. You gotta wash them 3 times to get them clean. And then if you feel like you need to do it more than that, then do it more than that. But anyway, okay, so after I do that, I'm gonna take the garden hose and spray the roots off. I'm gonna end up trimming them, like where the little roots start. I'll cut that part off. So I'm not even gonna take these tips, root tips, in the house. Those will get cut off before. And then I'll take the leaves off and put them in my pot so that I can give them a pre-rinse outside before I take them in the house. I can go ahead and show you what it looks like when I take the leaves off. Give me just a second. I'll bring you down close. Alright, so I have my pot here. Oh God, there's a lizard. Oh my God. I almost had a heart attack. There was a lizard on the turnip stem on the greens. Oh, Jesus. Heart attack. Heart attack. That's more reason why I go through them and pre-rinse them outside. I know somebody that got traumatized when he was a little boy because his grandma told him to bring a bunch of collards in. And whenever he brought them in, there were baby frogs all over him. And he's a grown man and still can't stand frogs to this day. But woo-wee. I know. I know that a lizard's not going to hurt me, but I don't want it on me. More reason to wear gloves. Okay. So, I'm going to take the stems off and put them in there like that. Oh, I feel my adrenaline going, boy. That scared me. It was coming toward me down the stem. Hopefully it jumped off. Goodness gracious. These are pretty long. Like if you see, holding it up to me, they're long stems. Whew. I think that's going to be the highlight of this video. And you see I got my favorite garden shirt on, Garden Gangsta. Garden Gangsta, but not when it comes to a lizard about to get me. Hard of attack. Ooh, we gotta tell you what. I think it learned its lesson. It was time to vacate the turnip greens. Okay. And then this little baby one in the middle. So, just so you know, if I was going to store these and not cook them immediately, I would use my pruners or something to cut the leaves off. But I would leave the stubs of the stems on and then still trim, like wash and trim this. And then the way I store them is in a Ziploc bag, like a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. I know I got my hair in my face. Anyway, gallon-sized Ziploc bag, as many as you could fit in there, but put you a paper towel and store it in your produce drawer in your refrigerator. And I've had turnips last for months that way. Alright, so now I'm going to give this a rinse, trim it, rinse all these off. Ooh-wee, and I think I'm going to be done with the video for right now. I'm still going to work on getting stuff done, but let me recover from that scare. Alright, so, just to show you, I'll rinse this off. I think I'm going to hold it over my compost pile because that needs to get wetted down anyway. That way I'm not wasting that water. I just gave it a light rinse. Good enough for outside before I bring it in. I'm going to put it right here. I got a milk crate, which is what I got the stock pot sitting on. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this pot with some water. And I'll use this water to water plants. I'm gonna make up a big 5-gallon bucket of fertilizer also, and I got some plant food for my plant starts. Everything's gonna get fed and watered. And I'm gonna plant those seeds, okra and purple hull peas, and water those in. And if I still have time, up pop my peppers. I'm gonna turn some music on and try to knock it all out. Alright. So the stems I'll put in the compost pile. I'm just going for the leaves. Alright. So again, once I take them in the house, I'll put them in a sink full of water and go through them individually. Oh gosh, yeah, I feel a little pricklies. That's why I had gloves on earlier, but it's alright. You've got to be careful. The prickly, like the little prickly things on the stems, like little hairs or whatever, that can poke you. But turnip greens are super healthy for you. So it's worth it to grow them, and make sure you eat them. Eat those turnip greens. Don't just waste those. If you grow turnip root, I know, you know, you can, if you don't like the roots at all, you can just get the turnip green varieties that are just the greens that don't even produce a root. You can leave some of the stem. I just take most of it off. Like, leave it down at the end of the leaf where it's more tender. But if you like the stems, you can leave them all on there. Hold on just a second. I'm going to throw my hose off. If you saw my last video, I was showing you the rows that I already had planted and how some were starting to come up. And so one of the things that wasn't coming up yet were the striped green beans. And I was worried that maybe they won't come up, or maybe they just take longer because they're a different variety. Yesterday, not a single one was coming up. Come out this morning, first thing I did was go over there to water those rows, and boom, they're starting to come up. So thank you, Heavenly Father. I'm thankful whenever my plants grow. Again, I'm trying to still be cautious because of that traumatic experience that I just had with the lizard. Living in Florida, you end up with lizards in the house sometimes. I've had lizards in the shower with me. My son's had lizards in his bathroom before. One time, he even had a frog leg hanging out of the overflow drain in his bathroom. And I was so scared, I didn't even really know what to do, to be honest with you. But I think he got it to go back in there. I don't know what became of it. Ooh, poke, poke, poke. You could keep wearing gloves if you want to, if you're more sensitive to those little hairs. I think they're mostly on the front of the stem. So if I like fold the leaves in a little bit, when I take them off, I don't really feel them as much. Yeah, you can see them. If you look, they're like in line with the way the leaves grow. Plant's way of protecting itself. So this, you can see where I'm breaking the stem. Where it gets thinner, it's not going to be as tough. I don't mind a little bit being in there. It's convenient having the compost pile right here and not having to bring this stuff in. Deal with it in the house. One day I'm going to make a produce wash station. But this is working for now. I also want to make a couple bench seats. When I was a teenager, I was interested in carpentry, and I was planning to go to a vocational school to be one of the, probably the only girl in the carpentry class there, or carpentry program. I used to watch This Old House all the time when I was a kid. But plans changed and I didn't end up getting to go to that vocational school. I moved and then other things happened. But anyway, I still try to use a tiny bit, bare minimum carpentry skills, not much at all. But I'm gonna try to educate myself on how to make a bench seat, like a small bench, and I'll make a couple of them, one for under the tree because I like to hang out back here because it's shady and it's kind of like I can't see the street from the road because of my privacy fence. I hear the birds chirping and stuff, so I'd like to make a garden seat for back here and one for in the big garden. So when I make that happen, I will share it with you guys. See, if anything, hopefully you get some entertainment from my videos. This leaf is yellow on the end. I'll just put that. I took the, hold on, I'm looking, I see leaf miners on this. So some of the leaves on this were toward the end weren't that good. I'm gonna put that in the compost pile, and I think I've gotten all the big leaves. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick my hand in this pot and give it a good wash. Let me bring you guys along. Alright, can you guys see? Good. So I don't have the pot completely full, but it's filled up enough for the amount of greens that I have in there that I can move them around. There's plenty of room to move them around. That's what you want. And usually if there's any sand or debris, a lot of times it'll sink to the bottom. I feel a little prickly, but it's not that bad. Oh look, there's a dead leaf floating up. Take that out. And then since I said that they float to the bottom, I'll just move them out of the way when I drain them so that that debris won't catch on them. And I'm gonna go use this to water some plants. Alright, so I finished giving the greens a good rinse, and I'm just gonna, I got a small amount. It's not a huge amount. It's gonna be enough for a couple servings for me and my son. Not gonna be a big batch, but hey, they're homegrown, fresh picked, gonna have the most vitamins in them. And I got the old turnip that, again, I told you I'm gonna cut all those roots, skinny roots off. I'll go in the house with a knife and cut the top, the stem end off, and then peel it and dice it up, and I'll saute that in olive oil with onions, and then I'll add the greens and stuff. So my son is eating a vegetarian or pescatarian diet, so I'm not going to use any meat in these greens, so hopefully he'll eat some. But I want to thank you again for joining me in this hopefully short video. Hopefully you got a good laugh, and I look forward to having you back next time. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Share it on your social media with anyone that you think might enjoy it. So thanks again, and have a blessed week.